Hi guys, this is the king of all anime. Just kidding. But he's the king of all what if. And I guess I'm gonna be doing what if Deku was a high-end nomu. Why not? So this is like a test, I guess. Okay, we're starting off now. Okay, you ready? Okay. Hi. I'm just kidding, I was singing a song a little bit. Where can I start off? Well, I can just start off on easy. So, one day, Deku was walking home. Well, he has no quirk, because he's still quirkless in this one. And he gets kidnapped. Like, he gets pulled into a van, and it's pretty bad. And, well, he gets, a bag put over his head, and he can't see anything. So, I guess that's happening. And yeah, they get this is what's going on. Okay, so that's happening. While that's happening, people see it, but they don't do anything because he's a quirkless boy, and they don't really care what happens to quirkless people, and because that's freaking society's fucked. So society's freaking screwed, and yeah. So he gets pulled in there, and he's trying to fight him off, but he's not able to. So he gets tied to the thing, and then he gets taken to a place, and he sees a doctor, and well, it's the doctor who assessed his quirk so many years ago, and he was like, dun, dun, dun. And then he puts him in a tube, puts him in one of the test tubes, and start testing on him. Like 3 years later, we're gonna skip a whole 3 years, and then the doctor says, "I'm finally finished." To one for all. No, just kidding. All for one. And all for one is good. Bring it in, and they bring in Midoriya, and they look at him, and he looks like Midoriya, but he's not. When you look at him, you know he doesn't look like him. And his quirks are, he has 5 quirks. He has super strength, major super strength, major regeneration, mind reading, super speed, and teleportation. That's all that. And yeah, he has the power level of All Might at this state. But yeah, that's what's going on. So yeah. So it's about to be it's a couple months before the what is it? The entrance exams of UA. And so yeah. So it's 3 years, and he doesn't look like Midoriya. He looks sort of kind of like Midoriya. So yeah. And the ship is Mei Hatsume. But There's a big but. She got one for all. And yeah, she got one for all. And yeah. So she's in the hero course, but she still should make her own support items. So she can make like the flick thing without breaking her hand, and it like, condenses up there and it shoots like his hands support thing. But he doesn't, like, yeah. So they like tell him to go to UA, and he's not under their control, because every time they put a chip in him, the body just destroys it. But he thinks he can leave. He knows he can leave, but that's it. So he goes, and he wanted to be a hero since he was a boy, and he remembers this. And he doesn't know anybody, because they erased this thing, except for his motivation, because they couldn't erase that. They could erase everything else, but they can't erase his personality, because that's your personality. And yeah, so his hero instincts are in his blood, practically. So that's going down, and my battery is still dying, but that's okay. Whatever. Yeah. So while that's happening, he goes to the UA. Nobody really knows him. Nobody knows him because he has long green hair, and he has like scars everywhere and stuff. But he's buff, like buff. Like, for example, like All Might buff is a bit too much. So turn it down like maybe half of it, but he's still pretty buff, but like not as buff as All Might. And he's like a 6-pack, like a 12-pack. You know, that's how muscular he is. He has a 12-pack. I'm laughing at myself. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm laughing at myself. Hey, Morph. My precious little baby. Morph, look at me. Are you camera shy? Okay. That was my baby. Okay. Well, let's get back into it, I guess. How about that? Where was I? Oh, yes. He's like half as buff as All Might. So he's still really buff, but not as buff. And so that's the thing. So, I just wanted to tell you that. And yeah, U.S. Sports Festival. I mean, not Sports Festival. U.S. Inter Exams. Here we go. Well, Deku goes through demolishing it, because he has basically, I'm gonna say 57%. Sure, I'm making him pretty OP. So he's practically, he's stronger than All Might. Let's just say that, because they still want to beat All Might, but if they ever get in a conversation with All Might, they can just call upon him. That's what they're thinking. So yeah, that's going on. So yeah, like that's going on, and yeah, so he gets in, obviously, with flying. He has the most points that anybody ever has had, and people are surprised, and he gets in, and they're proud of him. Not proud, but they're happy, because now they have an eyes on the inside. And yeah, so they're like, take the file with all the plans, which he does not do. He says, "Nah, Felicia, not gonna happen, Chief," and walks away. And he was like, "Yo, what are you doing?" Nobody knows. They think he's gonna do it, but he doesn't. And basically tells Principal Nezu what's going on. Not all of the things, but says villains are planning to attack the USJ and everything. And he's like, "How do you know this?" And he tells him, but he trusts him enough. He trusts him, but not as much, so he doesn't let him go anywhere. So they create dorms, and like they block everything off after hours, and so yeah, they block everything off, and basically like a prison, but like not as strict, except for Midoriya, until they take down the hero of the villains. Until like he fights the villains and like takes them down and like makes them all like pay, because he is going to. So time skip. Here we go to the USJ. Well, they don't know who's gonna be there and who's not gonna be there, so they assume and do not bring the high tier nomu, like the one that's supposed to bring down All Might, because they already have the All Might Destroyer and the Nomu Destroyer in place, so they're like, we can just take control of him and then do it. So if Mr. All Might is there, so they're like, let's do this. So they attack, which All Might does show up, but they get split apart and everything, and All Might shows up, and Shigaraki is like, "No, kill him," and Deku's like, "You talking to me?" And Nomu attacks. Deku attacks. Goes for the blow, and cutscene. He remembers from his childhood and everything like that. They remember from his childhood he admired him and everything. He admired him and stuff like that. So he's like still swaying, and then another cutscene. It goes to Mei Hatsume with one for all, and she's running at Deku.
Thank you for your offer to donate cookies. I'm checking in on behalf of my sister-in-law
and
to arrange for pickup or delivery.
And like, but there's one perk for her. She can see in, like, there's that thing, she already had a power, and it's mind reading without like doing like what's his name? Night Eyes thing. You have to touch him and then do that. You don't have to do that. She just has to look at you, and just boom, it does it. So yeah, just boom, it's done. And she looks into it, and as she looks into it, it forces Midoriya to remember everything they did, and it just makes him more mad. Makes him even more mad, and then so he's still in mid-punch, and so I never said she was coming to punch him, did I? Dun dun dun. Twist in the first episode. He went for Shigaraki, and he punched Shigaraki because there's no Nomu to protect him, and he punches him against the wall. But the Porto guy is like, "Master, young master, we need to get out of here," and he like Deku jumps and grabs what's his name? What's his face? And a portal guy, and like grabs him and pulls him to the ground and leaves him. Like grabs him so he can't teleport. And yeah. And yeah. Todoroki, the Maximus, bro, I love Todoroki. He's the freaking best. He's the best quirk and everything. And yeah, he freezes the Shigaraki, and they kidnap him. Not kidnap him, but throw him in jail. And everybody's caught and everything's turned out. And Shigaraki won't tell anything. But the minor villains are like telling them everything. And everything they know. And they said they were serving all for one. They're serving all for one. And this kid is apparently his number 2. And they don't even like the kid, so they're snitching on him. And they're like, does this give us lighter sentencing? They're like, nah. Nah, you attacked students. Nah, you're done. So, yeah. This is after. And, so that's happening. And they're already done. And so they're planning the raid on the thing. But Deku in this one is strong as fuck, buddy boy. So they bring him. They don't. I'm skipping so much ahead, but they're planning to bring Deku. This is like months from now, though. But it's like months before after this. Skipping to the U.S. Son of a bitch. U.S. fucking sports festival. U.S. sports festival. Because they had that break and he did nothing productive except for train. Well, he doesn't have nowhere else to stay, so he trained his quirks in the school grounds, and he's practically the only one staying in the dorms. And yeah, he kind of looks homeless. He looks like he's homeless with his long hair and stuff. And they're like, it's greasy, and he hasn't took a shower because they're just getting done with building the dorms. So he was practically living in the school, but he wasn't, but like he was. You know what I'm talking about. So in that time, they finally finished that, and yeah. And then we're skipping to the U.S. Sport Festival, I forget. UA Sport Festival, and yeah, it goes the same except for Deku wins the cavalry battle. And now let's do the battles. Okay, I'm not gonna talk over that because I don't like talking about that. It gets repetitive. I'm like about you just talk about it all the time. It gets repetitive, and I don't enjoy it. And so first he fights Uraraka. I'm changing this up. So Deku fights Uraraka, Todoroki, and Mei Hatsume. And yeah, Mei Hatsume beats Bakugo. Okay, so Midoriya beats Uraraka, Todoroki. Now he's on to, like, when I say beats, he bloodies them. They're bloody after he's done. And then he gets to Mei Hatsume. And yeah, that's gonna be kind of a hard fight because you can use. I'm gonna give her a pretty strong, let's say 50. Of 50. I'm gonna say 50%. So she's on par with Small Might, but he can beat Small Might It would be pretty good throwing hands, but he could beat. Like, nowadays, oh my. In his prime, he could still beat him, but it would be really good throwing hands. But even better. And so, yeah, that's happening. So, he's fighting her. She's throwing pretty good hands. He's trying to not throw full force because throw full force usually kills people. So he doesn't throw full force. And yeah, full force is really powerful. It's even twice, like, I'm saying a good 70. I'm gonna say it's like 150 of all for one. All, yeah, one for all is like full cowling. Is that it's 150 of it, and he's OP. I'm making him OP and everything. So yeah, so they're fighting. Deku's trying to go easy, but she's trying a little bit too hard, and he snaps and punches her pretty hard, and she goes down. And she's pretty hurt, pretty bad, and he runs over, takes her from, like, recovery girl, and there is Umaraka Shoto, and, you know, Mei Hatsume laying in 3 beds, and recovery girl's like, you need to calm down. She's like, you need to calm down because you really hurt 3 kids, and